Roosters taking on the Cowboys. And again, this is another Queensland team that doesn't lose a home game, but gets to play in Queensland. So I do feel a little bit bad for the one poor team that does lose it, which we'll talk about in a second with the next game. But obviously, we have held the recent record against you guys head to head. It's 27-12. We've actually won the last 5 games against you guys. The Roosters are coming in having won 3 from their last 5. Obviously, the Cowboys, second-year syndrome, struggling with injuries, struggling with suspension, have won 1 of their last 5. Points scored, very close, 147 to 145, but it's the points conceded where the Cowboys are a bit, how you going with 213 to 154, but let's be honest, majority of those did come last week against the Sharks. So, Baxter, what stands out from you here? What worries you, I guess, from a Cowboys perspective, looking at these stats here?
What stands out? Not much is standing out this weekend. These stats at me, but my concern is that points conceded is going to go up, and that points scored is going to remain the same after this weekend. And now, off pod in our chat, I have jokingly, openly admitted to say,
What was it? It wasn't off pod because you said it in last week's review show.
Okay, if it was in the review show, for the people who didn't see it, I have said if the Roosters do not beat the Cowboys by 40 points or more in the margin, they should just strip the 2 points off the Roosters, give it to the
You know what? I did find that interesting, and I did do a bit of research because I thought you've got no faith in your team. And we always we say gamble responsibly. If you're a betting person, go for it. Have your fun, gamble responsibly. The line is only 11.5. So if you're that confident that we're going to blow you out, chuck $5 on us minus 40. You'll probably win about 400. So
yeah, I have. I've got to be a rich man after this weekend.
Yeah, sure. But let's look at it. We'll look at the Roosters first. I will say them, then I'll chuck it across you for your boys with the Cowboys. But for the Roosters, you've got James Tedesco, Corey Allen, Joseph Suaalii, Drew Hutchinson, Jackson Paulo, Joey Manu, and Luke Keary in the halves with Hargraves, Brendan Smith, Lindsay Collins, Egan and Nat Butcher, and Victor Radley in the 13 with Jake Turpin in the 14, Angus Crichton, Satilli, and Matthew Lodge round out the bench with Fletcher Baker in the 18th. Sam Walker, we'll see if he travels, but he is in the 19 with Katoa, Billy Smith, and Nathan Brown edging ever closer to his first game in tricolours. But Baxter, it's a strong side on paper. Let's be completely honest. I think there will be a few changes. Obviously, we've already lost Momorowski due to his shoulder injury, which does bring Drew into here. I've got my concerns that if Brendan Smith is going to play this game after going to the hospital, I would more lean towards potentially he doesn't. That then opened the door. Does Jake Turpin come in and take his position for a straight swap? Does Victor Radley potentially go into that position and we bring someone else off the bench? He did it last week when he got injured and the whole game changed. So there's definitely a potential where Victor Radley could go into that number 9. But we'll obviously have to wait and see. But I would say, given the report today that the Roosters put out saying he's trending well, however, we're going to monitor him leading up to the game, I would say there's a massive chance either A, Brendan Smith doesn't play, or B, Brendan Smith finds himself on the bench and he's used as needed in this game if it stays close.
All right, I'll throw it to you, though.
Yep.
Brendan Smith gets ruled out. Jake Turpin goes to 9. Who do you, in your opinion, replaces Jake Turpin at 14?
Who do I want or who do I think will replace him? I think Fletcher Baker. I'll be completely honest. I think if you were to put Sam Walker there, it'd be an absolute brilliant player to have. He's playing in front of his hometown. He is a Brisbane boy, but I think it'd be Fletcher Baker that would come into this lineup because knowing Robinson, he does want Sam Walker to obviously work on a few things, and I just don't think he's going to make that change. I think you could even see a world where if Brendan Smith doesn't play, maybe Sam Walker comes in, Drew Hutchinson goes into halves, Manu goes back to centre, and Walker goes back into his position. But I'm going to say Fletcher Baker takes that 14 spot if Turpin comes in.
Fair enough.
How about yourself?
Well, I'd love Walker to get on the park here because Mayo has been shopping around that a few Queensland clubs are
What's
looking
Brisbane? Let's be
to.
honest. It's Brisbane. Brisbane's definitely one of it.
No, Brizzy, one of them. I won't deny it, but there are a few others out there
I
that
will,
are
I will
looking to.
say, just because I don't know if you saw it back, so about 2 minutes before we recorded, there actually was a first interview with Sam Walker since it happened. And he did come out and say, I can't wait to be back. I understand why I've been dropped, and I'll push my hardest to get back into this Roosters lineup. So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt. I'd say more salt than less. But apparently, there's a few Queensland clubs looking to eye his signature past the 24th.
Do you know who reported that first?
Um,
I'll give you a hint. It wasn't a New South Wales paper. It was a Queensland paper. So I'll give you a hint.
I do know it's the Queensland Cura Mail.
Yes. So take that
But
with a
hey,
grain
no,
of
well, I
salt.
think it was a grain of salt. But looking at their reports, looking at what they said, it is true. You got two key sevens in Chad Townsend at the Cowboys and Adam Reynolds, who are on the wrong side of 32. I think
You've also got Luke Keary. You got to take into account here. He's only got 1 year left.
Yes. This is right, but I'm just talking from a point of view here. They're both. Chad's going to go. I think this is his last year. On the wrong side of 32. Adam Reynolds, I think, has this year or next year to go. So they're both going to need sevens or sixes at least going forward. Now, if Walker, as he said, he wants to get back into the Roosters squad, and if you want to fast track that chance to get back into the first grade arena, do you take a punt and move north, back to your hometown in Brizzy, or even further to the Cowboys, or do you just sit it out in reserve grade New South Wales Cup for the Roosters? Take it as you will, but as you stated as well, Luke Keary, he's pushing it, and he's probably going to get moved on in the next 5 years, if not less. So
No, he's got 1 year. So he's got this year and next year. So I reckon he's done. He'll be 32 at the end of next season. So I'd say that's about him done at the Tricolours.
So yeah, that's what I mean. So you virtually you got three choices of where you want to go, and the door. Look, as a Cowboys fan, the door is open. I would love to see him and Tom Dearden as a halves pairing. I would have nothing but open arms for him if that's who he chooses. If he chooses to go to Brizzy, I'll hate him when we play against him. But once he puts on that Maroons jersey, which I think he will do this year, maybe in the 18th jersey, it will be good.
I think he'll struggle to get the jersey this year purely because he's not playing. I think if he was playing, he would have.
I reckon we pick him at 18.
You're not going to pick a New South Wales Cup person in your 18th jersey. Not a chance in the world.
Hey, head knock comes on. Oh, month to go down.
I will put a bet on here right now. I'll put a $5 bet on here right now that Sam Walker, if he is not playing, I'll even do one better. If he's not playing by the end of next week, so next week's game, he won't be picked for Origin.
I reckon I would pick him in the extended squad.
No, well, extended squad's different because they take like 35 players into camp. That's completely different.
They take 25. Come on.
He's got to make. Well, he was in there last year, so that's completely different.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. It was Tom Dearden.
He came in for game 3 when I was in New South Wales, or whenever I was in New South Wales, he was there.
For game one. That was game one when we didn't have a halves issue.
Yeah. What I will say is he'll be in camp. He will not get anywhere near that 18-man squad.
If he does, I reckon it'll be good because him, Munster, Dearden, Walker, it is looking pretty good as a Queenslander.
Well, you know what? Talking about Queenslanders backstage, I know you want to talk about him, so talk to me about your boys. It's the North Queensland Cowboys.
Yes. It is Scotty Drinkwater in the fullback role with Kyle Felt and Murray Talangai in the wing position. Valentine Holmes, Peter Iku round out the centres. Chad Townsend and Tom Dearden to make the halves pairing. Jordan McLean, Colin Hess to make the front row. Reece Robson to make the hooker role. Hayden Lukey, Jack Gorgonski, and Ruben Cotter to round out the second row and lock position. Jake Granville, Mitchell Dunn, JTB, KF, Riley Price to round out the interchange bench, Ben Hampton, Brendan Elliott, Talangai Sad Rugiu, Jake Burke to round out the 22-man squad. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but
I'm
this
not. They're only
is
Cowboys fans. That's why I gave it to you.
no. Will you? Look, he might be Samoan and he might come after you. The Samoans love me, so I
Sorry, he's a
apologize.
Cowboy fan, so he can come after me.
Samoan fan, attack Tony. But
Well, you know
anyway,
what I've seen from Cowboys is they can't tackle too well, so maybe their fans can't either. So
well, don't worry, don't you worry. We'll get a hold of you. We will know where you are this weekend. So, can't even say what I normally say. Strong lineup on paper, but they, look, it's probably the same side we ran out last year at some point during the season. So, yeah, it does look good on paper, but on the park we're pretty shit at the moment. And yeah, I can't add more positives because we're not playing great. There's no glimmer of, like, probably the only person that's playing with shining light coming out of their backside is probably Tom Dearden. I think he's the only bloke that's putting in each and every week. So I can't. There's no positives going forward because last week we conceded 44 points. One in like the first defensive set in our half from a scrum. We can only cross the line once. We didn't really look good going forward in the previous weeks as well. So there's no really positive tip going forward. So that's why I say if you can't beat us by 40, we deserve the 2 points. And yeah,
that's definitely a Cowboys fan that's looking for anything to get 2 points because I think you're the only one that thinks it's going to be.
I think we should have got 2 points. I think we should have got 2 points last week because what I said in our little chat.
You know what?
Sharks didn't beat us by 40, so we should get
for the last 9 weeks. You haven't got 2 points, and if you're asking for charities, well, maybe get rid of these from the comp. We'll go back down to 16 instead of 18.
I reckon in round 12, we travel to Leichhardt. It's battle of second last versus last. At the moment, it could change, but I reckon it'll be good to watch that game.
And then if you don't beat the Tigers by 40 because you won the last premiership, they get the 2 points. But
no, it's a lot. We don't even go into it because there's a lot.
I will say, I think what we're seeing here, and like you said, if I look back to last year, besides Nanai being out, I feel like you did name this squad last year. At some point, this was probably your starting 13, but everyone was playing well. Everyone was stepping up. And now you're seeing the likes of Scotty Drinkwater, Valentine Holmes, Kyle Felt, Chad Townsend, Tom Dearden. They're not playing good football this year, and it's kind of letting those lesser names go, oh, maybe we're not as good as we thought we were. And that's no disrespect because I still think the Cowboys have a lot of talent, but they do need their big name players to step up. They do need a Valentine Holmes to take control of that game in the back line. They need Tom Dearden to get back to last year's form. He's been terrible this year from all accounts. They need Cohen Hess to stand up. They need Ruben Cotter to stand up. If they can, then the rest of these boys on the bench are going to start gaining a bit of momentum when they come on the field. So we'll see how that one goes. I'm excited. I'm not going to say his name, but I'm excited to see number 17 take the field this weekend. I think he's going to have an absolute crack when he does get on the field. I hope it's not for too long because they obviously are playing against my boys, but obviously thoughts to Tom Chester, who is out of this squad. He has suspectively done an ACL, so it looks like his season is over. So obviously massive thoughts go out to Tom Chester and his family as they deal with that recovery. But Baxter, I feel you always tell me that you don't tip against your team. You always tell me this, and then I reckon there's about 5 pods this year where you've tipped against your own team. So I'm going to take the Roosters 13 plus. I'm not going to go much further.
Here we go.
Than what everybody thinks. I think, yes, okay, we can score points. You can leak points, but the Roosters have shown that they can also leak points. So I think you will score a few points this week, but I think the Roosters get the job done 13 plus.
Yeah, we're in agreement here.
You little cat tipping against your own team.